Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
O'Reilly. You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Welcome to the Two-Footed Extra Pod. This is our quick hit show where I'll unpack the latest news and gossip, plus rumours in the world of football. This show was brought to you by our friends over at Liberty Shield. Did you know that Liberty Shield's VPN service not only keeps your data safe, but can also help you bypass government blocks on IPTV streaming? When connected to Liberty Shield, your internet activity is encrypted, meaning your ISP can't see or block those crucial live football streams when you sit down to watch. It genuinely is the ultimate solution for staying connected and never missing a match. Right now, you can save 25% by using the code EPL25OFF. That's EPL25OFF at checkout. All caps, no spaces. Oh, and one more thing. For more in-depth analysis on the biggest talking points from around the world of football, don't miss my main show, the Two-Footed Podcast, with new episodes dropping every single weekday. And if you want more from EPL Index, don't forget our Tad Predictable preview show or the Final Whistle review show recorded immediately after the big Sunday match. Now, let's crack on. What's good, boys and girls? Two-Footed Extra. Today is Friday. It is November the 1st, and the big news of the day is that Manchester United have confirmed the hiring of Ruben Amorim as their new head coach. He will take over on the 11th of November, which is obviously the beginning of the international break. He's going to oversee the next 3 sporting games, which is a kind of weird situation. And you'd wonder how motivated the players are going to be by a guy who's leaving. But it is what it is. This is what's happening. I went over this on Wednesday. I'm not going to spend too much time on it today. This is the best possible hire United could have made. But I also think it's the worst possible job he could have taken, because of the incompetency that's still rife within that club. I do worry about them providing, not the backing. They'll back him on players. They'll back him financially in players. I do worry about their ability to get the right players. And I worry about their ability to put the right people around him. Because we've seen manager after manager after manager not get the right type of backing, the right type of support. And it's not just a United thing, because I know Ineos are new to this, but we can look at Nice and see what's happened there and how many managers they've churned through. And we can look at Lausanne and see how poorly they've done under the Ineos regime. I think he would have been better off holding out. I think he would have gotten a better job. Now, there's very few clubs bigger than Manchester United. Realistically, Real Madrid are the only club that can outright say we're a bigger, better club than Manchester United. There are other clubs that can make arguments for themselves, like Bayern, like Liverpool, like Barcelona, but United at least have an argument, a strong argument in those cases. There's no argument with Real. Real stand head and shoulders above everybody else. So I can see the allure of making this move for him. And I went over it on Wednesday. I think there's enough players there that can make this work as long as the talent identification is on point, as long as they're patient, as long as they allow a settling in period, as long as their fans are prepared to park unrealistic expectations to one side for a couple of years and allow him to actually rebuild the club, then he will have success. But if those things don't happen, then this is going to go the same way as all the others. What else do we have here? Wolves sporting director Matt Hobbs has been given a 2-match stadium ban and fined £7,000 for misconduct by the Football Association. His charge relates to an incident following their 2-1 defeat by Manchester City. Wolves were unhappy that the goal was allowed to stand. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I fully understood why Wolves were so annoyed. I fully understood their anger at what I thought was a goal that should have been disallowed being allowed. This is the second time he has been found guilty of misconduct within 12 months. The previous time was after a 2-2 draw against Newcastle, where Newcastle were awarded a rather suspicious penalty. I stand with Matt Hobbs. I think he was right in both situations. Lennon Miller will captain Motherwell at the age of just 18 in Sunday's Premier Sports Cup semi-final. It's the League Cup semi-final. The Scottish League Cup semi-final. He's a very interesting little player. I'd be curious as to how much, he's not little, but I'd be curious to how much longer he stays at Motherwell. He's obviously been in their academy since he was 8 years old. He broke into the first team at 16. And last season, he really established himself, made himself undroppable. This season, he just looks like he's taking his game to a new level. He really does. It can only be a matter of time before he's capped by Scotland's senior team. He already looks a standout at under 21 level. And I can't imagine it'll be long before Rangers and Celtic start really casting an eye on him. He's the best player Motherwell have produced since David Turnbull, who came through in 2016 or 2017. And he ended up at Celtic. Now he's at Cardiff, playing pretty well. He didn't quite hit the heights at Celtic. Injuries, Rodgers, a couple of different things. But I always liked David Turnbull. I think Miller is more talented. I think Lennon Miller is more talented than David Turnbull. And I think we'll see Celtic and Rangers start to cast an eye on him. The other young midfielder in Scotland to keep an eye on is a kid called David Watson, who is at Kilmarnock and beat Miller out for Young Player of the Year last year. But what an achievement. What a great honour to captain your club at just 18. Really good piece here on the BBC website, written by Chris Evans. A nice nostalgic piece. And this is nostalgia that even I don't throw back to. This is throwing us all the way back to 1894 and Jimmy Logan's hat-trick in the 1894 FA Cup final for Notts County as they beat Bolton 4-1. Give that a read. It's cool to support writing about historic football. It's cool to remember these legendary names because we shouldn't allow them to be forgotten. They're such an important part of why we're all here and why we love this game. I highly recommend that piece anyway. What else do we have here? Rangers rudderless says big picture plan threatens to unravel. This is written by Tom English, who's very good. He's the chief sports writer for the BBC in Scotland. And this is a bit of a deep dive into Philippe Clement and how Rangers have kind of lost their way. It's not his fault. Every issue that you see at Rangers right now dates back to when Gerrard was in charge, to when they overspent because they were so terrified of Celtic winning 10 in a row. So they spent themselves to the brink of oblivion again for the second time in less than a decade. They put themselves at risk of going into administration for the second time in less than a decade. And obviously the first time it led to liquidation. To back Gerrard, again, I've said this before, in his 3 years at Rangers, Steven Gerrard spent more money in the transfer market than every other club in Scotland, including Celtic, combined. Rangers, and I don't just mean every other club in the Premier League, I mean every club in Scotland, all the way down. They spent more on wages than every other club in Scotland, bar Celtic, combined. So take Celtic out, combine all the other clubs through the Scottish football pyramid, combine their wages, less than the Rangers' wage bill. That's why they're in the mess that they're in. He also bought some honkingly poor players. 20 have been handed a partial stadium closure over the racial abuse that was directed by their fans to Loam Chuana of Lazio. They've also been fined €40,000. Personally, I think they should have had the stadium closed for a couple of games for such behaviour. There's also been punishments handed out to the Hungarian Football Federation in the face of their supporters breaching 2 regulations of the governing body's rules during their games against the game against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Racist comments, like it just call it what it is. They've been banned because of race. They've been punished for racism by their fans. Simple as that. Bosnia and Herzegovina have also been fined and had a partial stadium closure. Serbia, Estonia, and Georgia the same. Panathinaikos have been handed a suspended stadium closure for a 2-year probationary period. And that is because of a laser pointer, throwing objects, discriminatory conduct, which is most likely racism, and lighting of fireworks during their defeat to Chelsea in the Europa Conference League. And they've also been fined €76,000, which is no slap on the wrist. Arsenal interim manager Renee Sledgers says she will be in charge for at least the next 5 matches of the Women's Super League, or at the Women's Super League club, I should say. So yeah, Jonas Edeval, he resigned and Sledgers has taken over. She's overseen a 4-1 win over Vålerenga and a 2-1 win over West Ham. And she says that she will oversee 5 games and then there'll be a decision made. Nick Cushing of New York City apparently is one of the favoured candidates, but we'll see what happens. I think that's it. We'll go and come back with the gossip. See you in a sec. Right, hello. It is time for the gossip. And the first piece here is that Victor Gyökeres and Morten Hjulmand are unhappy with Ruben Amorim's decision to leave Sporting for Manchester United after rejecting offers to leave the club themselves in the summer. Football 365 says Gyökeres is likely to join Amorim at Old Trafford if a deal can be agreed. I would say it's unlikely given the spending that they have put forward on Xerxes and Højlund. And I'd also say that Jason Suter is a spoofer. So, Bayern Munich and Germany forward Jamal Musiala says he's happy at the club amid links to Man City. Sign the contract and prove it then. Liverpool have expressed an interest in Omar Marmoush. Manchester United could rival Liverpool for Wolves' 23-year-old wingback Rere Nouri. He'd make a lot more sense in an Amorim team, I think. Brentford will demand 60 million for Brian and Mbeumo, and rightly so. Rightly so. Demand whatever you want. Steven Gerrard is facing the sack at Al Ettifaq. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. It is not going well. It is not going well. And it has not gone well since he's gone there. 46 games, only 17 wins, 14 draws, 15 defeats. Not ideal. They had a spell last season where things were going pretty well after they finally rid themselves of Jordan Henderson. But after a decent start to this season, things have gone badly wrong for them. A global sports investment group are understood to have made an offer for 45% of Crystal Palace. I assume that's the John Textor share in the club. Aston Villa are in talks with Morgan Rogers over a new deal. That makes a lot of sense. Real Madrid are considering moving on Aurelien Tchouameni. Liverpool will take him, please and thank you. Real are either willing to pay for 84 million for Enzo Fernandez or offer Tchouameni as part of a deal to sign him. Tchouameni, Caicedo in midfield, that would be... It would be really good under certain managers. I don't think it's what this manager wants, though. Maybe. Enzo would always make sense at Real as a Toni Kroos replacement. Barcelona are monitoring Rafael Leao's situation. We saw it yesterday. Liverpool have identified Milos Kerkez as a candidate in their search for new left-back. It's team talks. I wouldn't put any stock into it. Athletic Bilbao hope to agree a new deal with Nico Williams amid interest in Barcelona. I think this is his last season there. Be shocked if he's there beyond this season. And finally, Girona are eyeing a move for Sergio Reguilon, who's at a contract next summer. So this would either be a cheap January move or a free next summer, which would make sense. I think he could probably do a little bit better, though. That's it from me. I will see you all next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.